So, first thing before we begin our sessions, of course, it's a 6-day session. So every Saturday and Sunday, we're going to have a session. Databases are one of my favorite topics to talk about. But before we go into anything, we need to understand what is a Postgres. We need to install it before we start. We need to do a lot of stuff. We need to understand. So, first thing we're gonna do is we just write PostgreSQL download, and then you're gonna download it if you have Linux, if you have Mac OS. Sorry, for me I have Windows, so I'm gonna click Windows, and you can see here download the installer, and it's gonna start downloading. So you can choose either one. You can choose like 16, 15, whatever, and then it's gonna show you. So let me download, let's say the 15 one. It's gonna download the installer. As you can see here, it's gonna take a little bit of time, but that's fine. I want to show you only one box you have to untick, so everything will be as normal as it is. So let's wait for it to download and open it and check it out. I already have it installed, by the way. So if I like PSQL, you can see here I already have the shell. And this is gonna be continuing on the Linux sessions we gave. So Sabine, Noor, and Randa were with me on we did like a whole 2 weeks of Linux. And also in databases, we're gonna work on Linux. So that's gonna be a bit good. I think it's better if we share the whole screen so we can see the installer. So let me do that. Share the whole screen. Okay. So it's done. That's great. I have a really good internet connection today. I don't want to jinx it though. Okay, opening when complete. Please do. Yeah. So let me check it out again. So we're gonna open. Please do. Okay, so let's give a little introduction before it opens. So let's talk a little bit about Postgres, about databases. So does any of you guys had any kind of experience in databases? Have you ever used a CLI or a GUI, a graphical user interface, or a command line interface?
Yeah. Hi, this is Suman. So I currently work as an Oracle database administrator. So I have around 11 years of experience in the same. So currently I'm from Dubai and I'm working for an service-based organization right now, handling around four projects currently. So yeah, mostly I be working. I mean, mostly I'll be doing the health checks and all in OEM, which is Oracle Enterprise Manager, and also backend, I mean CLI.
Well, that's great. I think you should be the one giving this lecture. This is a very introductory lecture. It's like,
No,
oh yeah, that's
yeah,
nice.
yeah, but I don't have any experience in PostgreSQL, so yeah.
Have you worked with MySQL?
Uh, I worked with MySQL, but not completely involved in that. So basically, I only deal with the Oracle database administration. I mean, Oracle database currently. So I just had a look of SQL Server, but no much experience.
They're kind of similar, you know, they all use the SQL syntax.
Mhm.
It's kind of
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
them are similar. But why not? So I think we have the installer downloaded. So let's take a look.
sure.
So here is the downloader. And then the first thing is, of course, we're going to leave everything to default. So next, next, you're going to leave these four as it is. So we're going to have the server, we're going to have the PG admin, which is the GUI. We're going to have the stack builder and the CLI tool.
Mhm.
And next. Okay, so we're going to create a password and then we're going to retype it. So Let's hope it works. Okay, you can see the port. We took a little bit about the port, so we know Postgres port is, I think it's 5432. I don't know why it's 33 changed. I don't know why. So yeah, everything we're gonna leave it for the default, next, and it's gonna start installing. So there's this box we need to untick that says we have to like modify the stack builder before we start. So this is the box you want to untick. I think this is gonna take a lot of time to unpack and unzip the files, but you can do it maybe after the session or during the session when we give the introduction. I'm not gonna do that because it's gonna take a lot of time and it's gonna take a lot of compute process, and I don't need that right now. So I'm gonna stop the setup. So let me cancel it. You just need to untick the box that says anything with stack builder. Not like I show you everything is default, leave the setup as it is. But anything else, you're gonna see that something has related to stack builder. Untick that. It's gonna be a very bad headache for you.
Okay.
Okay. So a brief introduction. I'm gonna show you guys what we're gonna give in our 6-day session. So the first day, we're gonna give a brief introduction to SQL. We're gonna write tables, drop tables. Maybe we're gonna do a little bit of insert update. We're gonna see. Second day, we're gonna check out filtering data, then aggregating data. And day 4, we're gonna talk about joins and subqueries. Day 5, we're gonna talk about data manipulation. And day 6, we're gonna give real-world case scenarios, and we're gonna see how to solve a few problems. I think we have the same a few questions also on day 4. Maybe on a few days I'm gonna add a few questions because I need you guys to get the practice of using CLI and understanding and breaking problems into sub-problems. So let's check day 1, which is introduction to PostgreSQL and SQL. So we're gonna give a brief introduction about these, the difference between SQL and PostgreSQL, installation and setup. We talked about this. We're gonna give a brief introduction to basic SQL commands like select, insert, update, and delete, and running subqueries using the PSQL. So, Suman, I think this is very introductory to you. I know, I understand, especially if you have 11 years of experience.
Yeah.
So if you want to leave, that's 100% fine. I understand. Sometimes when things are repeated, you get bored easily. So,
No, that's okay.
okay,
That's
thank you.
okay. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be like recap of those concepts. So yeah.
A recap of a very introductory concept.
Yes.
Okay. So when we gave our AWS sessions, we had a database session, and we talked about SQL and NoSQL databases, and we talked about the difference between them in a very abstract way. So the main thing, or the main difference between NoSQL and SQL, from its name, SQL, or the S that comes in first, is what's called structured. So NoSQL means no structure, nothing to look at. So uh, this is a very nice structure. I'm joking, guys. Okay, so typically structured or SQL means we have rows and columns. So in rows, we have the data, and in columns, we have what's called attributes. So let's check it out. We're going to talk about it more, but let me write it down as a note for you guys. So we have rows, which contains the data, and we have columns, which contain the attributes. As an example, you can draw a small table. Oh, that's a bad table. Why don't I use that? I think there is a table here. Okay, that's fine. We can like use what we have. So we're gonna give the first column an ID, and then we're gonna give a first name and maybe age. So A for age. Good. So in the first row, سطر, we're going to give ID 1, first name of Ali. I'm very good at using my mouse, by the way, guys. And age of 41. It's just easier to draw. So this is what we called, or this is the difference between rows and columns. So rows, we have the data like ID 1, Ali, and 41 years old. And rows is going to be the attribute. So SQL stands for Structured Query Language. So this is the language that we use with databases. Like if you want to do, let's say, game development, typically they use, I think, C++ or C#. I think C++, based on the business case. When you want to do an object-oriented program, you can either use C++ or Java. If you want to do a website that has a little bit of analytical skills, you can use Python. So based on the business case, you can use whatever language you want. But typically in databases, we use either SQL or NoSQL language. In structured databases like Postgres right here, we use a structured language. So as you can see here, this is a standard language that is used for managing and manipulating relational database. So not non-relational database, relational structured database that comes with tables, rows, and columns. Okay, so SQL will allow us to do a lot of operations, and we're gonna see when we start using our CLI, and we're gonna check it out. I don't really like to read off the slides. I just like to say what I understand based on my experience in database. So also we have this important concept called keys. So we have a primary and we have a secondary or a foreign key. So a primary key is something is used to identify an attribute. Okay, so let's say ID here can be used as a PK, which we call as a primary key. And then when we want to have another table and we want to use the ID, so we have another table right here. And you can see we can take this ID from PK. This is called a foreign key. So a primary key and a foreign key. This is FK. Why do we need that? Why do we need primary keys and why do we need foreign keys? Well, basically, we need primary keys to identify a certain row or certain type of data, and we need a foreign key so this foreign key can relate back to a primary key in some of the tables. This will give us the ability to collab more than one table with each other. So if we have a table, as you can see here, I don't want to do another table, but you can see here we have joined table 1 with table 2 using these keys. And this is one of the magical things or magical benefits of SQL is the ability to collab more than one table together. If you want to collab, like I think I used to have this kind of question. Okay, what do if we don't have a table? We want to collab a table with maybe a non-table database. You can use something that's called a data warehouse. This data warehouse will give you the ability to collab not just relational database, also non-relational databases, like Redshift on Amazon. Okay. So how do we, or how on what basis do we use or choose the primary key? So a very good example we gave was the ID, because ID stands for identifier, which has to be unique, which has to be immutable, and it has to be a null variable. So what do these mean? In every country, you have a national ID, you have your own ID number, and this is your identifier for the place you're in or the country you're in. So no one should have the same ID as you or the same number as you, and no one has the ability to not have one. So you have to have a number, and no one has the ability to have the same number as you, and you cannot change it. Well, this is the basis we choose primary keys on. So first thing, it has to be unique. لازم يكون إشي غريب أو ما في منه كثير. The second thing is it's not null، فلازم يكون في value محله، يعني مش لازم يكون فاضي. Immutable do not change frequently or not change at all, so it should not change. Like IDs should not change, basically. ID number should not change. So we've talked a little bit about SQL, and it's a structured query language. We've talked about rows and columns, attributes and data. We've talked about foreign keys and primary keys and how they give the ability to club one or more tables. So now we're going to talk about PostgreSQL, which is this elephant guy who was in the first, this guy right here. So this is Postgres. It's an elephant. I love elephants. So Postgres, it's what's called a relational database management system, or RDBMS. It's a very long shortcut. So a relational database management system basically is a system that manages databases. Basically, it's really easy to understand. So Postgres is very flexible, is used by multiple companies. Personally, I love Postgres because it's very flexible. I have tried MySQL. I didn't like it that much. And let me give you a look on their GUI. Let's hope I remember the password though. Let me try and open my PG admin and give you a quick look on the GUI of the PG admin, not the CLI, the graphical user interface. So let it load up and then we'll continue. So Postgre has a lot of robustness, it's reliable, and it can handle subqueries or complex queries and multiple data types, and we're going to talk about them. So what are the data types in PostgreSQL? Of course, there's a lot, not just these. These are the ones that are most important, but these are not it. Not just that. So first thing we're going to talk about is int and integer, and we have numeric, and we're going to talk about the difference between these two. We have what's called a varchar, boolean, date, and text. So we're going to also talk about the difference between varchar and text. So if you ever write in any kind of a programming language, you're going to understand these types. This is really easy. So integers are basically numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's bad 4. So 4. Let me make that a little bit longer. And varchar are characters. So let's say C, H, A, any kind of character you want. Boolean, it's either true or false. So booleans are true or false. Date, basically it's a date. So let's say today is 14th of September. And numeric is the same as integer, but it has decimal points. It either can be 1, 2, 3, or it can be 1.2. So this is numeric. And text, it can be more or a longer type of varchar. So let's say if we talked about ASH or CHA, text can be Maya is my name. I'm not gonna write the whole thing. It's gonna take me a lot of time. So let me try and log in. Oh, it did not log in. Oh, it did log in. Wait, let me show you guys. So I've opened my PG admin. As you can see here, I have nothing basically. So Postgres, I have one database that's called Postgres, and this is the GUI of Postgres. It's very awesome. It's downloadable. Like I showed you guys in the beginning of the session, you can create tables just by right click and create, and you can create a database. We're going to create that database called test1. Save. And then when creating this database, we can create tables inside of these databases, which are really easy to create. Like literally we can do that and then create, and we can create, where is the query tool? Yeah, I think I should create it using query tool. So you can create schemas for a lot of things. We're not gonna do that using the GUI. Sorry guys. We're gonna do it the hard way. Okay. So let's go back. Yeah, we've talked about the data types. We've said integers are integer numbers like 1, 2, 3. Varchar are characters, Boolean, true, false. Date is just date, and numeric is either like what, like float numbers or integers, and text are a longer version of Varchar. So in Postgres, when we want to create a table, it's just create table. Just write create table. It's very easy. The GUI is better than MySQL. It's easier, but you're gonna learn it the hard way so you can know how to learn the easy way. So let's open PostgreSQL. Let me type PSQL and share my screen. I'm gonna share my entire screen. Why I keep doing that to myself? Let's hope. Okay, so you're gonna leave everything as it is. The username is Postgres, and the password you have inserted. As you can see here, I have logged in. So please don't forget your password like I did. I've tried multiple times. As you can see here, we have started using the shell. So when you enter like this, now we're gonna start using our PostgreSQL. So basically, SQL is a very easy language to learn. It's just English. No, you can't use Postgres to hold unstructured data. You need specific type of databases to hold unstructured data. This is the relational database. So you can either use like JSON and put them in DynamoDB, let's say, used in AWS. You can also use MongoDB, which holds document DBs and stuff. So you have a lot of options to hold unstructured data. Okay, so again, SQL is basically in English. So as you can see here, the table structure is going to be create table, and we're going to have column, data type, and some kind of constraint. And then we're going to end it in a semicolon like Java or PHP if you ever write PHP. And this is going to be awesome. So create table, and then we're going to give it our table name. And then we're going to give what kind of columns. As you can see here, we're going to give ID, first name, and age. Of course, guys, I'm gonna teach you an easier way to do that, but not for now, because I want you to learn the hard way, as I said. I'm gonna give you a website that's gonna help you. So as you can see here, we can create a table that's called employees, and we have employee ID, serial, primary key. Serial means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it goes on a serial number. Primary key, we have chose our ID as a primary key. So first name is gonna be varchar of the length 50, and it's not null, so first name cannot be null, of course. Have you ever met a person who doesn't have a name? And then we're gonna have last name varchar 50, and it's also not null. And then we're not gonna write any kind of hiring date or hire date. Or let's do that, why not? So let's do that. So first thing we're gonna do is create. Of course, best practice to write SQL in caps lock. So it doesn't matter. You can write it without caps lock, but it helps you differentiate between words and SQL. So employees, and then we're going to open. And let's say the first thing we want to do is an employee ID. So employee ID, and it's going to be serial. And it's going to be a primary key. So thing will help us identify. Isn't that correct? It is correct. Okay. Second thing we're going to need is a first name. And it's going to be varchar of 50. And we said it should not be no. So not no. Sorry. And then we're gonna have the last name. So last name also varchar 50. And then it's also not gonna be null. So not null. And we're gonna have department ID. So we can take the department ID from another table. We can make another table that says department ID and place and a lot of stuff. And then we can have it as a foreign key in this table, but we're not gonna do that as it is a little bit advanced. So where's that table? Here. So department ID, and we said it's int, and last thing, hire date, and it's gonna be date, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So then we're gonna close it and use a semicolon. So as you can see here, the input is create table. So we have created table. I think it's ls, no, ls, this table. Table. Oh, I forgot how to list tables. That's nice. Okay. I forgot how to list table, but that's fine. We can check our, so we can go to schemas.
In Oracle, it is describe table name.
I'm sorry.
In Oracle, it is describe table name. I mean, like DESC and then the table name. It will show all the columns.
I
column
think
names.
here it's the same. So let's say describe employees. Oh, it
Yeah.
doesn't work. So I think if we wrote, okay. Let's check out. I like to teach my students how to use the help command. More, yes, please. I want more. So apparently I can't find anything I need to describe the table. I can use also clear doesn't work. I mean, I'm really used to Linux. So let's say employees doesn't show anything as well. But that's fine. I should have asked ChatGPT before doing that. Okay, so we have created a table. Let me check if it's gonna be here. So tables. There is one on schemas. That's nice. Okay, I can't see my table. That's fine. We don't need it anyway. So as long as it gave you that it has created a table, so we're in the safe side, as I assume. So as it is easy to create a table, we just write create table. It's easy to drop a table. So we just drop a table. And dropping a table is kind of dangerous. It just removes it. So it removes everything from it. Select. Select, you get the data from the table. We don't have anything yet. So select all from employees. We don't have anything yet. So it's not going to show anything. Am I writing it correctly? Yeah, I am. So we still don't have anything in the table, so not gonna work. So drop table and just the table name, it's gonna remove the table and everything inside of it. So it's a very dangerous command to do. So if we wrote drop employees or drop table and employees, it's gonna remove employees. So we're not gonna have it anymore. Should be able to see the table. It's weird. I think it's in Postgres. And I've dropped it, yeah. Here it is. I've been opening the wrong database, that's why. So we have removed this. We've dropped the table. So let's add it again. Where's the thing that is wrong? Your ID. Which ID? Employee ID and department ID. Okay, that's fine. Create table employees, employee ID, serial, primary key, first name, varchar, not null. It's gonna give us the same. It's giving me help and then the same thing. So I think I'm just gonna copy and paste it. So let me copy what's here. Because I don't want to rewrite it again. It's gonna take a lot of time. It's not even copying. That's nice. Well, my shell is stuck now. Doesn't even.
But it says already exist. Employee table already exists.
Oh wow! I didn't actually. I didn't see that. That's nice. Okay, that's good. At least it's still there. Okay, so again, we can create a table by creating a table, and we can drop a table by using the drop table. So as you can see here, drop table books. So now we're gonna talk a little bit about select, update, and insert. Let me talk about insert before because we can't select anything if there's no data. So let's talk a little bit about insert. So insert command is gonna help us add a new record to our table, of course. So the syntax is gonna be insert into and the table name. Then we're gonna have columns like as we said here, we have employees, first name, last name, department ID, and hire. We're not gonna use the salary, so let's remove the salary. Let's remove the salary from here as well. I think I have removed. So this is good. So as you can see here, it's basic English. So insert into employees, which has first name, last name, department ID, and hire date, and these values. So let's do that. So insert into employees. And we need the columns. So here you can see it's employee ID. And we have first name, last name, and department ID and hire date. These are the columns الاتريبيوتس الخصائص تاعون التيبل تاعتنا اللي هي عندنا الامبلوي اي دي الاسم الاول الاسم الاخير رقم الديبارتمنت ومتى تعين هذا الانسان بعدين نحط في هذا التيبل اللي فيهم these columns put in this table that has these columns these values so we're gonna add I think employees a serial I don't think it's gonna work it's a serial so yeah we're gonna remove the employee ID because it's not gonna work it's a serial so it's gonna give us 1 go to the end so first name Ali and then the last name is Joe Ali Joe department ID is 1234 and hire date is how is the syntax because yeah sorry so okay 2024 1 1 let's do as it says 24 01 01 and let's see what it gives us what why is it giving me clear oh not double quotations single quotation let's do single quotations and try it out. Hopefully. Oh, yeah, that's it. So now, as you can see here, it has inserted by entering O1. It's a very funny way of saying you've successfully entered a data. So now we're gonna use what Zaid have chatted, the select. So let's now say select all from table or from employee, sorry. Nothing has returned. Why? Okay. It's very weird. It happens because I entered it 3 times and it gave me an error. The third time I entered it gave me the results. That's nice, but it's fine. So as you can see here, the employee ID is 1. We did not enter that, as you can see here, because it's serial. So if we entered another one, it's gonna give us 2. And Ali, Joe, and department ID is 1, 2, 3, 4, and the hire date is in the beginning of the year. So that's good. And we said it has a really weird way of showing that we have inserted some kind of data into the table by entering insert O1. So insert is very easy to use. You just need to be careful of the columns and the constraints, and you need to be very careful. As you saw, I've done a lot of errors, which is fine. And to regain these or retrieve these queries, we can use what's called a select command. So give me that from that table. And the syntax can be select column 1, column 2 from table where if we have some kind of condition. So as you can see, select a first name, last name from employees where department ID is 1. So basically, if you understand English, you can understand databases. It's a very simple process. But let's try it out. So let's insert something else. So insert, again, guys, best practice is to write in caps. So insert into employees. And let's write first name, last name, department ID, and hire date. These values. And we're gonna give another name. So let's say Sabine, you always come on my mind. So Sabine and Sabine, we need the last name for Sabine. Then when it comes to names, guys, give us a last name. I'm really confused. Okay, I'm just gonna put David because David is here. So Sabine, David. Thank you for letting us use your name as a last name, David. So department ID is gonna be 23. Just came on my mind, and we're gonna have 2023, 04, and then 05. More. Then we close it using this. So I think now it should enter. As you can see here, I told you it has a weird way of showing that everything is fine by inserting O1. So let's select everything we had. So let's select all from employees. As you can see here, we have the entire table. Of course, all is star. So now let's select first name, last name. I think it's without. No, it's with the comma, sorry. So first name and hire date from Employees. Employees. So as you can see here, I don't know why it keeps doing that. It's very weird, but that's fine. Oh yeah, no, here it is. It's very good. So as you can see here, when I told them I just want a first name and hire date from employees, just gonna give me the first name and hire date from the employees. So it's really easy. So what I wanted to teach you guys is instead of doing that manually, which I personally don't like, there's this website called Mokaru. We're gonna use it a lot. So this website actually generates a lot of data that I use. So as you can see here, you can see first name, ID. We're gonna remove it because it's serial. And let's fix this. So first name, last name, and then we have our, what do we have? Then we have first name, last name, department ID. And then we have hire date. And this, we're gonna delete it. We don't need that. So this is gonna be date. And this is gonna be, let's give it an airport code. It's no, we have made it integer, sorry. So we need some kind of numbers. Okay, that's good. So street numbers. And you can insert how many rows as you want. So I'm just gonna do 10. I don't want that much. And it's gonna be, you can see here, JSON. We're gonna use SQL and mock data. Include create table. So we're gonna, no, we don't want to include create table. We already have the table. So generate data. And it's gonna give us a full-on SQL. Let's see here, .sql. It's gonna give us the thing we need, which is what's important, I guess, right? Mokaru, yes, Mokaru, which is mock and kangaroo. You're welcome. Okay, where is our SQL? So it opened on VS Code. So as you can see here, it's the same thing. Insert into this is employees. So we're gonna fix that. Let me do that. Oh, that's gonna take a lot of time. Can I like replace? No, I can't. Sorry, guys. I should have entered the name of the table. Okay, that's good. So as you can see here, insert into employees, first name, last name, department ID, and hire date. And as you can see here, it is giving me what I need. So let's try and copy and paste it and try to paste it right here. What? There's something wrong with my, that's weird. How can I copy and paste these stuff? Copy. Is it like Control Shift V? No. Is it V? Control V. Oh yeah, correct. Just Control V. So as you can see here, insert into, and all of them are inserted, so that's nice. Now let's select them all. So select all from please. Why? Okay. Why is there an error? There is no error. Okay, that's weird. Sorry, guys. So as you can see here, we did not enter the employee ID. It just generates it because it's a serial. And you can see here, Orland Pountain in the department ID, this number, and the hire date is this 2023. So this is nice, actually. I like that. Let's continue on the next slides. So we've talked about select and insert. Here's the structure. let's talk about update. So update is used for modification. So if you want to modify someone in the row, try to do CLS to clear screen. So I'll try and do that CLS. I don't think it's gonna work. Is it like is it like a command to clear? I don't remember.
Usually on Windows command prompt, we use CLS to clear the screen. So,
Well, I'm using Linux command to clear the screen, but it's not working. Let me close that. Okay, so update is used for modification. So you can see your update table name and set column 1 to the value is column. Okay, so example is we can update our table employees and set salary for where employee is 1. So we need to have some kind of condition or it's gonna update the whole table and we don't want to do that. So sorry guys. Let's update and I don't want salary. I want hire date to, let's say 2024 01 05 where employee ID is 1. Okay, good. So we're gonna take that and let's paste it. It's not gonna paste. That's nice. So let's do it manually. So update. We should write it in caps. So update employees and then set hire date equals, is it equals? It is equals. So hire date 2024 we said, and then 01 05. Then we're gonna see where, right? Where employee is, where employee ID is equal to 1. Forgetting the numbers. What? Okay, let's do that again. That's weird. So as you can see here, we have updated. So if we select all from employees where employee ID is equal to 1, and you can see here it have updated the hire date to 2024 0105. So this is what we want. So if you want to modify any kind of stuff, we can do that. And guys, please make sure to add where, because if you didn't add where, it's gonna update the whole table. And we're gonna see that. So let's do it. So let's just remove where. And you can see it have updated the 11 rows as you can see here. So now if we select all from employees, you're gonna see all of them have the same hire date. As you can see here. So make sure to add a where clause, I think, yeah. Command, okay. So I should have put a note to add where because it's a very important thing to understand. So delete has the same thing. Delete command is used to remove records. Records is the same as rows or data. And you can see delete from where employee ID is 1. And again, it's the same as update. You should have add where, because if you don't add where, it's going to remove the whole table. So the whole row, sir. So let's do that. We can say delete syntax from employees, please, where employee ID is equal to 1. And you can see here, if we select all from employees, we're not going to see 1 anymore. But if we did that without, where is the delete? sorry guys, I'm sick. So if we did that without adding the where, it's gonna delete all the rows and we're not gonna have anything left. As you can see here, we have no rows. So please make sure to add the where clauses, especially when you're manipulating data using update or deleting them using the delete function. So the last thing we want to talk about, let me insert a few data because we need that for the aliases. So let me just add these insert, no, not release notes. I just want to insert these three. So let me do that. We have inserted 3 rows. So aliases is just a second name for the column. So instead of calling it employee ID, we can just call it ID. And it's a temporary name given to a column. Typically, they're used when you're trying to do some kind of function, like please give me the average of the salary and put it on a table as AVG salary, which is average salary. And this is understandable. It's not understandable now because we're using aliases on something we already have a name on it, but it will be on the upcoming sessions when we talk about sum, min, max, the minimum value and the maximum value. So let's check it out. How's the syntax? How's everything? So they can be to rename column, as we said. So let's check out the alias type. So we have 2 types. We have column alias and we have table alias. So column alias, as we said, either we can, instead of calling it employee ID, we can set it as ID, and it's going to show us as ID. And table alias, instead of calling employees, we can call it as emp. So syntax, as you can see here, for column, select column name as from that table. So let's do that. So first thing we want to do is select all from employees. Oh my God. Okay, so select all from employees. We have 3 rows. And as you can see here, the ID did not start from 1. It's a serial. So even if we deleted the rows, it's going to continue on the serial. It's not going to go back up. So let's say select column name. So select employee ID. As, this is where the alias comes within. So as alias name, we said we're going to name it as ID from table. Is it from table or from table name? So from employees. Oh, I forgot the semicolon. So as you can see here, instead of employee ID, it's just ID. That's aliases basically. It's very easy. You just need to understand it more especially when you start using functions, aggregated functions. Okay, so columns or table, it's just select column name as alias. Okay, that we're not gonna go deep into aliases as table because personally I'm not gonna use it. I'm gonna use this more, the column one more. And let's do a quick recap before we end the session because it's end of day 1. So first thing we have talked about, we give an introduction about PostgreSQL and SQL. Stop the share and reshare. Sorry, guys. Okay, so a quick recap of today's session. We have talked about an introduction about SQL and Postgres. We have seen that SQL is a structured query language, which means we have rows and tables, and rows is for data and columns is for, rows and columns. So columns is for attributes and rows are for data. And when we mean structured, we mean tables. And we're in something what's called a relational database, in general, just relational database. And then we have talked about keys and their importance. So we have a primary key and a foreign key. And a primary key is something that we choose to be as an identifier, a unique identifier for a record. A record, we said it's a row, it's data. And foreign key is a reference for the primary key, so it can help us connect or collab two or more tables. So when picking primary key, we should pick it as a unique, not null and immutable, so not changeable. And we've talked about Postgres. It's an open source. It's a relational database management system. It helps us manage databases. And we've talked about data types. Creating table, it's just basic English. So create table, table name, and insert the column, data type, and any kind of constraint you want. This is an example. And also dropping table, drop table, and table name. This is gonna delete everything with the data in. So if we did that, let's do that. So drop table, employees. I forgot to enter this. So you can see here we have dropped the table. So now if we try to select anything from it, it's gonna give us that this does not exist. So we have dropped the table. And basically, I think now it's not gonna show. But you need a little bit time to reflect, that's fine. So here we drop table. We also learned about select if we want to get something from a table. The syntax is select the things we need or all, which is a star from the table. And if we have some kind of condition, insert is how we insert data, and then update and delete. The most thing we've talked about is adding with the where clause. So you don't delete or update the whole data. And the last thing we've talked about aliases is to give a second name to a column just to make it easier to read. And we're going to use it in the aggregated function session, not today. So this is all for today. I'm going to give this quick recap again in the next session so we can be more clear. But please, Morajai, if you like, please download the PSQL or Postgres and try and do it with me. It's going to be more fun rather than just listening to the session. And I'll send you guys the Makaru link on Slack. So that's all for today, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for this session.
No problem. Thank you for joining, all of you. Thank you all for joining and listening to me being sick and talking about databases. Let me stop the recording. Thanks a lot. No